All right, so we're going to talk today about the very first function you're going to create in your game. And this is where your game actually starts coming to life, okay? So at this point, you should be through lesson 11, and lesson 12 is where you start getting your targets and dangers a little bit of movement, okay? So we're going to talk specifically today about update target, and I want everybody to understand this is what happens, okay? Right now, I have my target located right here. And really, the computer doesn't understand what picture you have or what image you have for your target. It doesn't really care. All the computer knows is that you have this thing called your target, and it's located right there on that dot. Even though your character might take up a little more space than that, okay, all it knows is that it's located on that dot. And the way that it knows that it's located is because of the coordinate plane. So right now, I have the target at 50 for the x value and 350 for the y. And can everybody see, I tried to draw that the screen is supposed to be in black, okay? And then what I did is I put red for our x-axis and our y-axis, so we could see exactly what the screen is. And I want you to realize, and those of you that are past update target right now, you realize that the x-axis keeps going beyond the screen, okay? You do. Because when you get update target to go, your target moves, and it never comes back. It just keeps going and going and going and going. So guess what? It does. It goes beyond the screen, okay? We'll take care of that. That's like, I think, lesson 16, where we get it to actually stop and we get some control over our targets and dangers, okay? So our target is located right here at 50, 350, okay? And the important thing is what we want this thing to do is we want it to move across the screen from left to right, okay? And as I said before, the only way the computer knows where your target is located is because of the coordinate plane. It knows right now that this target is at 50 for the x value, okay? What we need to do is we need to get this to move. So in other words, we need the x value to actually change. If the x value changes, that's how we're going to get our player to actually move. And so we can do that, okay? So here's our little contract, and I've just started the design recipe over here for update target. Update target's the name, the domain is a number, and the variable that we're calling that number is x, and that x actually represents the location of your target in your game, the x value. In this case, our x is 50, okay? Then the range, what we want it to produce is we want it to produce a number. That number represents the new x value after we made a change. Everybody with me so far? Okay? So right now, we have update target. It takes in an x, and x is a number, and I actually put in 50. So what we need this x value to do is we need it to move to the right. And any time on a number line when you're moving to the right, guess what? Our x value is actually increasing. It's getting bigger. So that's what we need to show it to do. So what we need to do is we need to add an addition block, okay? And the goal of update target is to take in the current x value, and we want it to increase in size. Now this is where you get freedom and flexibility. Some kids want it to go fast to make it really, really challenging. Some kids maybe want it to go a little bit slower to make it a little bit easier. That's completely up to you. It's your game. You figure out what you want to do. What I'm seeing a lot of kids use is they say, well, we're going to take in our x value and add 10 pixels. So then essentially what's happening is it's starting off at 50, and then the very next movement it takes in 50 and then adds 10 and it moves to 60. Then it takes in 60 and adds 10 and moves to 70. Does everybody see how that's going to be moving across the screen? It always takes in the current x value, and then we're going to add 10 pixels to it of the x. And that's how we get the target to actually move. Now in the definition, what we need to do is we have to define this variable that we set up called x. And what we want, this X will be blue because it's a number, okay? And what we want it to do is we want it to take in any number for X. Whatever the target's X value is, we want it to take it in and then add 10. Adding 10 is going to stay constant. The thing that's going to change is the target's X value. Anything that changes, we need to name it in our domain as a variable and give it a specific name. We want to call this X because what does it represent? The target's X value. Does that make sense? Okay, so we need to grab an addition block. I'm not grabbing update targets function right now. I can't use update targets function. I have to actually add an addition function. I grab that, and then I click on this, any number for X. We put that right inside here, any number for X, and we always want to take whatever the X value is and add it to 10. Now I can go through and I can hit test, and it will say matches definition. And at that point, when you do that, you should see your target moving across the screen from left to right, because it's always taking in its current X and adding 10 pixels to it. All right? So there's update target. I'll have that video available for you for anyone that's not quite there yet. And if you have any questions, let me know.